Today I'm going to do something different. I'm going to talk about one of my favorite books, and I'm going to read some parts of the books for you. For the last, before I start, this is the book. I don't know if you guys can see it. There it is. It's by Paulo Coelho, and the name of the book is By the River Piedra, I Sat Down and Wept. Before I talk about the book, so in the last few years, I've been actually looking for romantic novels, fictions, things like that, and I somehow have started believing this. Even in cinema, in fiction in generally, romance is going down. There's hardly any conversation about romance. So I've always thought about stories that make me feel romantic, stories that make me think about love. So this special book is one of those. So before I talk about the book, about Paulo Coelho, the author, he's a Brazilian writer, and most of the time he's more famous for his work, The Alchemist. So Paulo Coelho, Alchemist, you must have heard about him. It's a book that changed a lot of people's life. It's all full of magical realism. But this book is rarely talked about. Nobody really knows about it. So I thought, why not? There's also a special story behind this specific book. It's a very old book, if you can see. Somebody had gifted to my dad for his birthday gift, and I stole that book. I have this bad habit of stealing books in my house, and I have this bad habit of reading books before the person's who's the owner of the book. So yeah. And there's another special thing. I don't know if you guys can see this, but the book is fully underlined. I really like people who underline stuff so that the next person who's reading, they can pick up and they can also feel something like the previous author did. So I'm going to tell a little bit about the book, and then I feel like I'm going to read some parts for you so that you can also feel. As the name suggests, there is a river Piedra. And our characters, the main protagonists, they walk around or stroll around this river Piedra. So yeah, I'm gonna tell you a little bit more about the book. So not all love stories have to be happy, about two young lovers, and that's one of the reasons why I love this book so much. I'll give you a little glimpse, a trailer or a teaser, if I may, so that you also get inspired. So it's about these two childhood college friends who were close to each other. They grew up with each other, and after some time they had different dreams. One wanted to go to the city and explore life, and another person wanted to stay back and find themselves. So they went in different directions, and after years they were coming back and meeting again. Now the twist in the story is, by the time the woman comes back, she has seen a lot, she has experienced life, she has multiple partners, and now she's coming back to her hometown, and the guy has become a priest. Now little background to people. When I say priest, is somebody who's worshipping a higher being, and in this case he joins a church which worships goddesses. So he's a priest who has dedicated his life for the services of the higher being goddess. So by the time she comes back, this guy has become a priest and he's dedicated his life. So she's bitter, she's irritated, but she still wants to meet him. So when she meets him, he says, why don't we go for a retreat? Now retreat is a place, a spiritual journey where people go to spend some time in silence, spend some time in figuring out about God and things like that. So she agrees. She's like, okay, what's the harm, I'll just go. And while she's with him, she realizes how many people really look up to him. He's like a big priest. He's like a leader. People walk behind him. So she's very inspired. And then she also realized at the same time the girl in her who's longing to be with this guy. So she has these conflicting feelings. And in the story, the guy comes and says that I also feel the same about you, and I really want to be in love with you, but I've chosen goddesses. And it's very difficult for me to make the decision. And then they have their internal struggle, and by the end of the book they find each other. Now how do they find each other, what really happens, that is for you to go ahead, and I would suggest you to go ahead and read this book. But what is more inspiring and interesting about this book has been the way they talk about love, the way they talk about how love can be intense, can be healing, can be spiritual, can be something that teaches you to serve somebody else. I often, when I hear about love in today's world, it's more about, I need, I want, it's I. I rarely hear the word service. So it felt very good. So I'm going to read some passages where I felt the way they defined love was very beautiful. And I read. But love is always new. Regardless of whether we love once, twice, or a dozen times in our life, we always face a brand new situation. Love can consign us to hell or to paradise, but it always takes us somewhere. We simply have to accept it because it is what nourishes our existence. If we reject it, we die of hunger because we lack the courage to stretch out our hand and pluck the fruit from the branches of tree of life. We have to take love where we find it, even if that means hours, days, weeks of disappointment and sadness. The moment we begin to seek love, love begins to seek us and to save us. I think that this is really very beautiful in a way, the purpose of love, the longing, the wait, and the way they talk about the weeks of disappointment. I think that's very realistic, In today's world, nobody really talks about this, how love can actually be a lot of hard work. So yeah, this is one of those books that really inspired me, and it really taught me, to, rethink about my idea of love, this idea of love like an addiction and an attachment, and how to go beyond it. So I thoroughly enjoyed this book. I really hope so you also go and check out. And let me know if you have any special books or any books that was the definition point of love for you. Please put it in the comment section so that I can also go ahead and read. If you want me to do more book reviews, let me know. Books is something I really love. I thoroughly love reading books, and if there are any books you think I should read and review about it, I'll be more than happy to do it. See you soon. Bye.